Hi.
Sylvia, how are you?
Oh, wait. Sorry, I cannot hear you. I think it's let's see now.
Okay, can you hear me?
No, I don't know why. Sorry about that.
No, that's
Um,
okay.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me see. Now?
How's that?
Yeah, okay, I can hear you now. However, I don't know why.
Perfect.
When I connect the microphone, it blows up. I don't know why. It never done that before.
Always. Well, thank you so much for making time for this at the end of your day. I'm sure you're exhausted. I appreciate it so
Yeah,
much.
no worries.
And
Yeah, I'm excited to see.
thanks for squeezing this in. I'll keep you like under an hour, so we'll get you out of here and off to bed. Can you just tell me
Yeah,
how
no
to
worries.
pronounce your last name?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. So, well, my first name is Silvia, of course, and then the second one, Subirana.
Subriana.
Subi, Subirana.
Subriana. Okay, perfect. I just
Yeah,
always
I'm Spanish, so that's why like it's a bit trickier.
Amazing. I'm
Like,
currently in Nicaragua learning Spanish, not fluent yet, but getting there slowly.
yeah, nice.
Okay, well, thank you so much for making time for this. Welcome to the podcast. I'm honored to have you and learn from you.
Yeah, of course, I'm happy to be here.
Before we start, I always begin with the question, how do you, Sylvia, keep yourself well?
So, yeah, obviously, as everyone would say, right, I try to sleep a lot, like get at least 7 hours sleep. I try to do sports quite a lot. I try to eat healthy, but of course, apart from that, I always try to take things easy. And what do I mean with that is that in the past, I tended to take things too personally or get too stressed about things that later on I realized that they weren't that important, right? So um, right now I keep telling myself, take it easy, everything is going to be all right. The lows will pass too, the goods pass too, and the lows pass too. So it's just embrace life as it comes.
I think that's brilliant advice and easier said than done. So a good reminder for all of us, especially going into the holiday season with family and more social time. If we go back, say, 10 years, would you have answered that question the same way?
Not at all. No. No, I was always a very active person. I still am, but I always tend to overdo and overthink and over like everything, right? So for me, the tricky thing is to like settle, like dial down and relax, right? And 10 years ago, I was just like, obviously I was way younger, so I just wanted to do everything, right? Everything was new, everything was like, yeah, I want to embrace as many things as I can. So of course, like I would have never said that advice, but with the years I'm sort of like getting into that path.
Older and wiser. Do you feel like you've noticed a change in your health, like physical and mental, your relationships? I feel like that more gentle approach to life has to have had a big shift.
Definitely, definitely. I actually ended up sick because of like physically sick because of all that stress and all those things. So I had to learn the hard way, right? Like you have to stop. Like um I I was doing a master's degree, and at the same time, I broke up with my boyfriend. So obviously, there was a lot of, well, my boyfriend back then. So there was a lot of emotion and stress and like grief. So it was a bit of a cocktail there. So when feeling all that, eventually my body just exploded, right? Because I was like, keep putting pressure, like, yeah, let's keep going, right? So in the end, I had a massive gut infection that I had to deal with antibiotics and then supplements and a specific diet. It was quite a difficult time in my life, and that's when I cut alcohol, cut sugar, and like I cut gluten, lactose. Obviously, I went back to like a sort of like normal diet. I would say normal because there's like this is a bit of a tricky word, but I went back to eating gluten because I'm not like allergic or intolerant. Like I can eat it, lactose the same. I'm I love sugar. Unfortunately, I love chocolate, so I try to like dose it, but I still have a little bit. But what I don't have anymore is alcohol because I really do see the difference in my body.
Wow. I like how you said that dose it because, I do keto for nutrition, but
Hmm.
with a lot of foods I say it's like the dose makes the poison. So if you can practice that
Hmm.
moderation, I'm sorry that you had to experience that. I think that all of the listeners can probably relate to that hitting kind of burnout
Hmm.
where your body has just forced you to take the break, right? Which
Yeah.
then becomes so counter to what the goal was. You're, pushing, making all this progress, and then forced to take an extended amount of time off, making very little progress. Whereas if you were taking
Hmm.
a more gentle approach, you're moving slowly, but still in the right direction. So that's a great reminder for people going into the new year where we're all like bright eyed and bushy tailed and want to do it all, to be proactive, taking care of your body
Hmm.
so we don't get to that rock bottom and,
Definitely.
have to dig our way out. So I know you have a degree in psychology. I also have a degree in
Mhm.
psychology, though I definitely didn't go as far as you did with it. I'm working on my master's in public health, so I can relate to this balance of, how do you take care of all of these, various buckets in your life. What drew you into studying psychology?
I've always been a very curious person, and I think the first time I realized that I wanted to understand what was going on in the people around me was when I was a teenager. Because obviously, when when you're a teenager, everything just feels heightened, right? Like you fall in love, and then you have arguments, and everything is just like so deep. And I would see that going on in myself and in my friends and everyone around me, and I was like, what is going on? Like, why? What is these people like? What are these people feeling? What's going on in their heads, right? So I had this curiosity, so that's why I started like learning a bit more before going to university, like when I was still in high school, and then I realized why not just like keep on this path and just like go and study psychology, and that is one of the best decisions I've ever made because I was a bit lost. I didn't know really what to do, and I just follow my gut a little bit, like, oh yeah, like I really like understanding people and helping themselves, like helping understand themselves, right? So I just follow that path, and I'm really happy that I did. Yeah.
Amazing. It worked out perfectly for you. I love that even though you didn't know exactly what direction you were going, you knew enough to follow your gut. Where does your
Hmm.
passion for people's relationship with alcohol come in? Obviously, you chose to cut out alcohol with your health journey.
Hmm.
It doesn't sound like it was problematic for you per se, which I feel
No.
like is how a lot of people get to that point professionally. So tell me about that.
So I've never been a huge drinker. Like I've never been very attracted to it. And how like obviously when I was sick, I had to cut it, and then I never went back to it because I sort of liked just like being able to drive after like going out with some friends, even if it was not very late. But like I got into that routine, and I just made it part of my life. Sobriety was like a part of my life. And I started realizing how um, socially accepted was that everyone was drinking, right? And everyone would ask me, oh, like, why are you not drinking? And still today, like, that was like over 5 years ago. And still today, I still get the, oh, why are you not drinking when I meet new people, right? And um, it's always been very surprising for me, like why do I get these questions when I just decide to drink water? Like it's the most normal thing to do. Like, and I started like learning a bit more about the peer pressure that people that don't drink receive, and I wasn't really affected by it because I was very like for me it was a health issue at first, so I had no option, right? And but even when I was healthy, like I had done on my treatment and everything, I sort of like went back to that excuse, right? Like, I had gut problems, so I just don't want to, right? Even though I was already healthy, and my doctor said, yeah, you can like drink whatever. Sometimes it's just easier to go back to health, right? Because then people question it less. And then I also started like in my self discovery journey. I've done therapy for like quite a long. When I started my degree, I realized that okay, if I need like if I'm gonna help people, I need to work on myself first. So that's when I started to go to therapy, and during those years, I understood like what happened with my body and anxiety and all that I said before, and that's when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I know a lot rationally. I know a lot of what happened to me, but there's something that's not clicking. Like I'm not connecting with my deepest self, right? I'm being like in the surface. I need to like go deeper in my habits, in my beliefs, in my values, but I don't know how. And that's when I found mindfulness and I found hypnotherapy. And then I just started seeing how hypnotherapy is very useful for breaking those habits. And one of those habits can be drinking, smoking, any sort of I don't like saying addiction because it doesn't need to be an addiction. I never had an addiction to drink, but with hypnotherapy, you can just get healthier habits, right? And start changing that deep, like the unconscious, really, like start getting better, like towards your goals.
That's amazing. I love that you still use the language of sobriety for your own journey, because I think a lot of people are weary to use that word unless they did have a problem with alcohol. But it doesn't
Mm.
have to be something that's forced either. It can be something that's just empowering and you've chosen it for yourself. And I'm very similar. Like I have spent most of my life not drinking. I was an athlete and just it never aligned with my goals. And like you said, I just never really developed a taste for it. So it hasn't been problematic for me. But that question is so common. And, you know, comparatively to you cut out sugar, you cut out gluten, I think people understand that way more than they understand alcohol, you know, which I mean, arguably alcohol is even worse for you. So just shows that normalization still happening socially, which I think is shifting. You know, I'm lucky enough to have these conversations quite frequently on the podcast and with clients about relationships with alcohol. And I think it's coming, especially from a younger generation, which is one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk to you. Younger people just choosing, you know, this is not what makes me feel my best. And so we've talked a lot about mindfulness here on the podcast. I'm a mindfulness practitioner as well, but not a lot about hypnotherapy. I would love for you to explain what is hypnotherapy and how do you utilize that with clients?
So that's a very good question because a lot of people don't really understand what hypnotherapy, hypnosis is. It's the same. People sort of think of like what TV shows and movies have shown us, right? Like they're just gonna
I
like
was
show
just
you,
that's exactly
yeah,
yeah.
and you're just gonna like they're just gonna click their fingers and then that's it. Like you're completely gone, and they can tell you to rob a bank, and you're gonna do it, right? That's not at all what happens in your mind. Like you are in control. The only thing that happens is that so you get into like a relaxation state, deeper, like a floating state, like you just relax, your body relaxes, right? So all the external noise from our conscious, like our thoughts, our worries, everything just disappears. And then we just focus on our inner selves, on our unconscious, right? So you just get into that relaxation state, and you're not really like you don't really know what's happening. You just know that it's like a relaxing time that you just listening to your hypnotherapist or an audio, depending on how you do it, and you just achieve that state of relaxation and you just focus on that voice. But again, it's a huge misconception. You're not gonna like do anything that you don't want to, and also you are still connected with your consciousness when you are in trance, right? Like you are able to get out of that trance if you feel like you need. And at the same time, if a hypnotherapist, for example, starts trying to like getting into the hypnosis and you are not willing to get into it, then you consciously put a barrier and then you won't get into it. So it's not like this sort of magic that you don't choose and then you get. No, it's you choose it, so you are sort of in control, but at the same time you can work with the unconscious part, which is not reachable from your, like when talking like me and you, like I would say regular therapy, it's not that reachable because it's very buried in our habits, in our subconscious.
Kind of intentionally, you're opening yourself up to a vulnerable state to become more suggestive, but to the things that you're open to and
Exactly.
choosing, not to like
Exactly.
negative external focuses. You're going to be like taking your pants off in the street when someone says a certain word or something. And I've never practiced hypnotherapy. This is inspiring me to, though. And I like that you say like recordings, you can do a self-guided at home if that's more comfortable for you. But I've heard lots of people using it to stop smoking as well as to prepare for birth. Like I work with a lot of pregnant mothers. And so I'm hearing more and more about it, which is really unique as more work is coming out. And I know you mentioned you've always been active, and I know you were a dancer. Tell me
Mhm.
about your dance background, because I think that's kind of important to all of this in your journey.
So I started dancing when I was like 3 or 4. Like I was very, very small. It's been part of my life since like forever. And for me, I used it as a way to release also my tension, my emotions, right? So um, going back to the problem that I had, like my gut issues, um, it was at the same time I was not dancing because I was very busy with my masters. So I was like also working and going everywhere. Like I was all over the place. So I was not dancing. And that really affected me for the worst. So I decided to go back to it, right? It's something that I have to do at least like, I don't know, twice a month. It doesn't have to be every day, right? But I need to keep in touch with that because that is what brings me to like what brings me peace, really. It's just like connecting with myself because that's a tool that I've always used. Like some people draw, but and I don't connect with the drawing, but I connect with the dancing, right? So um, for me, it's a very good reminder to connect the body as well as the mind because obviously, as I said before, I'm very overactive and I'm always like looking for things to do and stuff like that. Um, and being a psychologist even more, right? Like we're just focusing on the mind, and the my dancing background also connects me um to the body, like to for me to remember that we are whole, right? We cannot separate the man and the mind and the body because like if you are stressed, your body will be tense, right? So it's a cycle. And that's one thing that actually hypnotherapy teaches, that it helps you relax your body so then your mind will be relaxed, right? Because it's a cycle and it goes both ways. Like if you are stressed, the body will get tense, but if you are tense, you get more stressed as well. So if you get the body relaxed, then you start to feel more relaxed, yeah, less stressed. So that's why it works with many different types of people. That's what you said. Like with pregnant women, it works perfectly because obviously they are very stressed. Some people can be very stressed, especially if they had traumatic experiences before, miscarriages, or very unfortunate situations that some people encounter. So um, it works really well for these stressful situations and to get into that state of relaxation more like easier.
Hmm. One of the pieces of feedback I hear a lot when it comes to mindfulness, and I can imagine this comes up with hypnotherapy as well, is like, I just can't relax. Like people immediately
Mhm.
putting that wall up, like, that's not for me. I can't relax with mindfulness. I hear it all the time. Like, I can't sit and meditate, which, obviously that's not the only approach to mindfulness. How do you broach a client or a patient if they come in and they're like, this is never going to work for me. I'm incapable of relaxing.
The first thing I always say, which is the basic for mindfulness, is no judgment. Don't judge your experience. Don't judge the, like, it's okay if you are not able to relax. It takes a while. Like personally, it took me so long to be able to do a mindfulness session and get into it, because as like I was an active person, it just, my mind wouldn't stop. And obviously in mindfulness, you sort of like focus on the present. And for me, that was one of the most difficult things to do. And sometimes when I'm in a stressful time of my life, it still is like, I'm sometimes I have to like remind myself, okay, we're connecting to here, right? Like here and now. But it took me like months to be able to sit into like mindfulness class, because I used to go to like, well, not a class, but like a group, and we used to practice together. We had like a mentor, and I used to tell her like, I'm not connecting. And she said, be patient and don't judge, be patient and don't judge. And one day I was like, okay, yeah, I'm starting to feel it. But it was like 30 seconds. Like it was just like, it took me like a long time to understand that it doesn't matter how long you can relax, you can achieve that like moment of presence. But the most important thing is that you do, even if it's for 20 seconds, that's completely fine. And the more you practice it, the more you focus on that, the more you repeat it, the stronger the connections get in our brain. So the easier will be for you to get into that. And that works with like any habit, really, both with creating a habit and
Yeah.
stopping a habit, right? Because the brain doesn't differentiate the good and the bad. It just says, oh, I do this a lot, then I'm gonna, like, these connections need to be strong. But then I don't do this a lot, so these connections don't need to be strong, right? So to change it, it actually, it's based on repetition, really.
Yeah, retraining it. Well, and like anything, I think it's so funny because we maybe that judgment piece, right? And that attachment to like, oh, just we're sitting still, sitting silent with our thoughts and just trying to be present. That should be easy. But when we're so used to, a lifestyle in a society where we're go, go, go all the time, it's one of the most difficult things. It's incredibly uncomfortable for people. And I always have people tell me, like, I'm not good at meditating. I'm like, okay, it's not good or bad. It just is. You've shown up and made that time for yourself, which that alone is a win. So I love how you approach mindfulness, because I think that makes it accessible to people who are maybe, feeling a little bit blocked in it. And I would love for you to talk to me about My Dry 30, because this is an incredible project. How does My Dry 30 work?
So it's basically it goes to tackle the habits, right? Like it's like a 30-day program, like 30-day dry program that we say, but it's way more than that. It's not like a regular month-long program to stop drinking, because there's plenty of those. And yeah, they can be useful, because like any break can be useful, but then you're gonna go back to your old habits, because like you haven't learned anything, right? The only thing that you've done is abstinence for weeks. We don't do that. We focus on changing the habits and learning to connect with the things that align with your values, and in the end will bring you more happiness. Obviously, we don't defend only like sobriety. We just let people choose, right? Like you can choose a path of sobriety and we can help you get there, or you can choose a path of moderation, right? Obviously, it's not like our target is not addicts or people that have very high substance abuse, because those people need to get a proper treatment, like a medical treatment. So we are more looking into people that are sober curious, or gray area drinkers, right? Like these sort of concepts that are like getting trendy today, or like these days, because some people just don't know how to stop drinking because of what we said before, peer pressure or the situation, right? Sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable, and sometimes it's just a habit. So that's why we we want to change those habits, and we help people changing those habits with 15 minutes a day of hypnotherapy, 10 minutes a day of journaling, and 5 minutes a day of reading. And every day it's a different topic, like gratitude. We have obviously habit. We have happiness versus pleasure, how guilt and shame affect. We have many, many different topics that we address to help people understand that their experience is normal, and that a lot of people are in the same position as them. And what they need to do is to create a better environment for themselves to make healthier decisions.
I love it. That sounds like such an incredible tool. And because I think that the journey to sobriety, even if, it's just sober curiosity, one of the biggest things is it feels isolating. And the social
Mhm.
side of it is so challenging for people, again, especially with the holidays coming up. So this having, almost a communal aspect in the sense like, other people are going through this program as well. And do you think this could be used if someone's trying to change a different habit other than alcohol? Could you still use the app, or is it very specific? You're talking about alcohol all the time, because the formula just sounds like it would be, able to transition over to so many things.
Mhm. So at the moment, the app is only for alcohol, because the topic is really like alcohol. The like the readings, the journaling, the hypnotherapy is addressed to alcohol. But it's been like our team have this idea of maybe in the future applying it to other habits, unhealthy habits, right? Like we have seen many research has shown that it's like hypnotherapy for quitting smoking is very useful. But of course, there's many other unhealthy habits that we can tackle. So yeah, it's something that we have in mind. At the moment, it's just alcohol, though.
It's so amazing because, some of the barriers to getting other supports too, like AA obviously is so common, but you're having to leave the house and find a community. And, some of the programs have a religious aspect that people, may not be interested in pursuing. So this just sounds like such a great holistic component. And like you said, it's about actually changing those patterns and the habits. And what have you learned about the resources that are provided to people through the app? Because I'm sure through developing this, it's been quite an exploratory and learning journey for yourself as well.
Mhm. It's been very interesting, actually. Like, I had done some research in hypnotherapy and practiced it myself, but I hadn't really done much journaling, and it's been eye-opening, really. Like, how and you can combine those two, and the results are even better, right? Like, you listen to the hypnotherapy, and of course the barriers that I was saying before, the conscious barriers, the noise of the consciousness just goes away, and you are able to connect more with your deeper self, and you can start making changes. So after like a week, 10 days, you start seeing some changes, and then you can connect with those changes through journaling, right? Like you can just say, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, or many other things that the brain really doesn't differentiate if we're talking to a friend or if we're writing it down. And it's really good to talk to friends, don't get me wrong, but sometimes we get the judgment or we get the ideas from other people that we don't really need. Whereas a diary, it will never judge you, will never respond to you, right? And you get more or less the same outcome. Like you just get to vent and process everything. And it will also get you a more objective like vision of what you are thinking, because sometimes when it's in our heads it's messy, and you have like a monkey mind, right? Like your mind is like a monkey jumping from thought to thought. But when you write it down and you like do a list of what you're thinking, and it makes more sense. It's everything is in order, and you can understand what's going on in your head, and then you can relax because your brain is like, okay, it's already on paper, it's already out, so now I can breathe, right? So for me, obviously, the hypnotherapy is very powerful, but the journaling has been such like a discovery for me.
That's brilliant. I love that you're also going through this process kind of alongside people. So it's so relatable. You're not up here preaching like these are the things that you should do and not doing them. You've really gone through this. And
Mhm.
obviously with the holidays coming up, it's, the season for socializing. And you use the word sober curious, which I love that term, and a lot of people are becoming more and more sober curious the last while. What are your suggestions for someone who, maybe isn't, like you said, it's a gray area. It's not in that, like, I would self-identify as an alcoholic. It's not necessarily a daily problem, but just something that maybe they want to step away from. What are your suggestions for kind of that group of people?
For me, obviously, it's very important to understand your surroundings, your environment, right? Because obviously, if you are in an environment that everybody drinks all the time, it's very difficult for people to just step aside and say, no, I'm not drinking, right? Or if they have more supportive environments around them or not, right? So the environment really plays an important role. And I've had to work with people that said, like, I'm gonna give up some friends if I'm gonna become sober, if I'm gonna moderate. And I always tell them that it's not only like they don't need to lose those friends, they can just also moderate the time that they're with them, and then they can explore other communities, other people, right? There's so many, as you said before, it's even like now it's more and more common for people to decide to stop drinking just because of its negative effects. So there's more and more people that decide to moderate, to not drink a lot, or to not drink at all. So it's a good opportunity as well to meet other people. But of course, like with the holidays, you are sort of always surrounded by the same people, maybe family and stuff like that. So what I always suggest is look for a short sentence to explain your situation. Like, no, I'm not in the mood for drinking, or no, I'm not feeling too well, or no, I've decided to try to not drink for a while and see how it goes, right? So if you show that you're confident in your decision, people don't ask that much because obviously I've responded to that question a lot, and I've tried with many different responses to see how people responded to that. And in the end, people don't care that much because like they are worried about other things. So maybe they're gonna respond to what you said for like 30 seconds and then they're gonna move on. And 30 seconds of a day is nothing. So really, like I always empower people to just say, okay, think of a short explanation that gives you the confidence to just say and get it out of your system, and that's it. Like just you say it, get it out of the way, people respond, and that's it. And like you would be surprised, like, oh yeah, people react, but like everyone has their own problems. So we are less the center of the world than what we think, right? So
Yeah.
and in this situation is very positive.
I say that all the time. Like oftentimes no one might even notice because we all think everyone's looking at
Exactly.
us, but we're looking at everyone. And just that confidence too. And self-affirming, I think, to say it out loud to people, like it's, not that it's necessary, but it's a form of accountability in a sense of, yeah, I'm on this journey, or, I'm choosing not to drink. And
Mhm.
then yeah, it's like on with life. So that's amazing advice. And I think a lot of people obviously know that alcohol can have a detrimental effect on our bodies and on our health. But
Mhm.
what can you tell us about its effects kind of beyond the extreme circumstances of like hungover and being really sick and drinking every day? There's these subtle effects that I think alcohol really has that they often go undetected almost or ignored.
Yeah. So it messes like really with all our bodies, like body and mind. But obviously they're subtle and they're like progressive, so you don't really see it that much. But at the like after a while, you just go down, and you don't really notice. So, for example, it messes with your hormones and neurotransmitters. So, when you drink alcohol, you get a spike of dopamine, right? So dopamine is the neurotransmitter that says, yeah, that's good, give me more. So you're always going to have that spike, and other things give us dopamine, but your brain will get used to receiving that dopamine from that drink, right? If you always use it for partying, for example, if you always go out partying with that dopamine boost, then your body is like segregates less dopamine. It loses its ability to segregate as much. So you will have less ability, right? Less dopamine. So you won't get that spike naturally without anything. And also it affects serotonin, which is the neurotransmitter that helps you regulate your mood, be calm, be like content with like your life and moving on with everything, right? And low levels of serotonin sometimes can lead to depression. So if you drink alcohol quite frequently, the serotonin levels will lower with the time. So that's why people get like less excited and more sad in the long run because of these two neurotransmitters. It affects with so many more, but these are like the two that really like stay with me because it's like it's so important like to get excited and to like have fun and also to be able to be content with your life. It's just two basic things to enjoy your life, really. So yeah, these are like two huge effects. Also, like obviously sleep, cholesterol, blood pressure, all these things get very, very affected. So yeah, there's so many effects that even if you like don't notice because we never really take our blood pressure, for example, like they will start affecting your body. And even like if like they don't affect you now that maybe you're a bit younger, but when like in the long run they will be determinant.
Yeah. I think too, something, you say like that the partying, if you're going out and you're drinking, like there's also like so many people and you're being so social and there's music and there's lights, like your dopamine and serotonin are so high. And now
Mhm.
you're just making that association that only you can only have that fun, that experience with alcohol. And so for young people, who are kind of maybe still in that party phase, I think trying to separate, you can still have all that socialization, like you said, you're still going out, you just go out and feel better when you come home or can drive yourself home at the end of the night. But I think
Mhm.
that you have to then relearn how to socialize without it, which is so scary for people. And I
Mhm.
recently I had a conversation with a friend who, I very rarely drink. So I go to concerts and I'm sober all the time. And it's like, that's the most normal thing for me to be sober. And I love it because I'm like so present and I'm there. And another friend that goes to concert all the time is like, how do you do that without a drink in your hand? Like, I would feel so awkward. I'm like, well, just try it once and build that proof of concept of like, I can go and have a great time. But I think there's like a lot of relearning. It's scary to let go of that, little bit of like social safety net for people, which again is why I was so excited to talk to you before Christmas, because I know a lot of my clients and my, friends and family are already having this worry about how am I going to navigate being around family and when there's alcohol around and choosing not to. And I think it could be a fun challenge. Like try a Christmas sober and see how it feels. Do you feel just as good? Do you have just as much fun? Maybe you feel better because you're not hungover Christmas morning. Like,
Mhm.
so I like to focus on what it can add. You're going to add more. You feel better, not just what it's taking away. And what are some of the surprising things that you've learned while working on this and getting feedback from people who are using the program? Because I'm sure you're just learning so much every day through people's experiences.
Mhm. One of the stories that always like I always talk about it because it's what surprises me the most. Maybe surprising is not the word, but like it amazed me the most and showed me how this program, like the power that this program has, is um, that when we were recording the hypnotherapy session, so we hadn't even started, we hired a girl with like beautiful voice from Texas, and like I've talked to her, she's very nice, and she's always like, I love drinking. Like I'm not in a like I don't need it, but obviously in Texas there's a lot of football tradition, so we go out a lot to games, and we drink a lot of beers, and like it's just part of my social environment. And I never tried to like go sober or anything because that I like my life, you know. But obviously this was work, so she started recording these sessions, and after 2 weeks of recording these sessions, she noticed that she had drunk way less on those 2 weeks than than so long.
Wow.
Like she was just like, why is my fridge full of beer now? Like I'm not drinking them. Like I'm not taking them out. Instead of reaching for a beer, I'm drinking, I don't know, a soda or a bit of like water. Like I don't have the urge to drink. I'm not in the mood, right? And when she explained it, she was like, if it worked on me that I don't have the willingness, or I didn't have the ability to, or like the willingness to change and to get a healthier habit, I think it's going to be very powerful with people that do have that willingness and that
Wow.
desire to change, right? And that's what we're seeing, that it's like obviously the first week is just, it feels a bit weird, but after 10 days, 14 days, people are starting to see that they just have less urge to drink.
Wow, that's amazing. That because she wasn't showing up with that conscious effort and still was able to have and
Mm,
not doing the journaling and stuff, I'm sure. Like she was just doing the audio component.
exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. What happens at the end of the 30 days? Is it something that people will keep repeating? Is there kind of long-term tools that they're left with, habits that they're meant to continue on?
So at the moment is 30 days, and those 30 days also have like we also offer a toolbox with different activities in like practicing gratitude, practicing many other like kindness, any things that we think that they're relevant to work on, that obviously people can still work on after those 30 days. And we're also working on creating a second part of the program. So after they finish those first 30 days, they will have two options: to go fully dry or to moderate, right? And those two options will have 60 days each. So in total, it will be 90 days of a program. And they will be like obviously choosing depending on what they prefer, if they want to go completely dry or just like moderate their intake to have like a better relationship with alcohol, and to be more able to, when they like, to choose when they want to drink and when they don't really want to, right? Rather than just feeling the pressure. So yeah, that we're working on these two roads.
Oh, I really love that. That it's a guide to helping you choose whether moderation or abstinence is right for you.
Mhm.
That's so brilliant. And tell me about the choice for 30 days because, we hear like it only takes 30 days to make a habit, or it actually takes 60 days to make a habit. Have you
Mhm.
30 days is like a sweet spot for that behavioral change?
That is a very, very personal question. Like it really depends on like the person that like tries the program or any habit really. Like and it depends on many, many different aspects. Someone can develop a habit in just 2 weeks, or it can take you nearly a year to get that habit. So it's it's very arbitrary, but what we do is we offer those 30 days because it's a foundation to offer like what we offer. And also you will be able to start seeing the changes. So maybe at the end of the 30 days, you won't have completely changed the habit, but you will start having the tools and you will start seeing the changes for it. So you can decide, oh, what path I want to choose. Even now that we don't offer the two paths yet, they can still offer, or they can still choose the two options, right? They can still choose, oh, I'm gonna actually stick to sobriety because I like how it feels, I like where I'm going, right? And they like right now they do have the possibility to just start again and listen to the hypnotherapy, because in the end it's just like a relaxation like session. And obviously, if you listen to something on day 1 and you listen to something on day 30, like you don't remember by day 30 what you listened to
Hmm.
on day 1. So you can just go back to it. So yeah, it is a possibility. Like right now that we don't have the second part yet.
What an amazing tool. I'm so excited to see what comes next. What's kind of next on the horizon for you as you head into the new year with this project and for yourself?
So with this project, we're pushing a lot dry January because of course it's a huge movement. It's the New Year's, and there's like a lot of like, I'm not going to go into it because it's a very long topic, but the psychology of changes is very interesting. And actually, new chapters really change how we perceive ourselves because we see ourselves as characters and we see our lives as chapters in a book, right? So every year, every new year is a new chapter. So a lot of people say like new year, new me. And there's a very strong motivation attached to it. So it's a very good moment for people to decide to get healthier, for example. So that's what we're pushing a lot. My like dry January because we think that it can be very powerful to start 2025 and like in a healthier way, right? Because again, we don't only focus on alcohol, we focus on many other things. At one point, we suggest a detox diet as well, like detoxing from sugar, from fast food. We don't really suggest them to change their whole diet because obviously that's too much and that wouldn't really work. But alcohol has a lot of sugar, and we will have that sugar craving. And a lot of people that quit alcohol move onto sugar because it's the easier like alternative, right? And in the end, that's not solving the problem. It's just jumping from one to the other. So that's why we offer at one point in the middle of the program, like, hey, remember, you are detoxing your whole body from sugar as well. Um, so that's why, like in the horizon, we're sort of working with people to get more habits, like more healthier habits. And for me, yeah, it's just like learning more about the program and of like what people learn from it because the insights that people have are very interesting. And of course, like it's still quite new, so we're still learning, and I'm here for it.
Amazing, amazing work. And I love that you are promoting Dry January. And also, it sounds like a positive approach to like a New Year's resolution doesn't have to be, I feel like it almost has a negative connotation now where everyone thinks you're like set up to fail.
Mm.
And I've never felt that way. I'm like, it's as good of time as any. But when you put it like that this is like a fresh start, that we actually kind of are sensing, whether consciously or not, like this is an opportunity to start fresh. It sounds like it can be a really intentionally powerful time to make that change. So
Mhm.
that's, I think, really great encouragement for people, because I think recently we've been hearing more and more like New Year's resolutions are bound to fail. And I don't accept that attitude. So amazing. Before you go, I have a few rapid fire questions for you. The first being, if you consider yourself to have one, who is your biggest role model?
I have so many because there's so many people that have so many things to share. But to be honest, I've had very good teachers in my life, especially like in uni and in like my masters as well. Obviously, yeah, not all of them were good. Like, unfortunately, not all of them were good, but I've had very, very interesting people sharing their knowledge with me. And I still sort of follow what they do, the talks that they do, and the work that they do. And it's just amazing what some of my teachers have been able to achieve. So yeah, I think a lot of my teachers have been my role models because in the end, they've been also very real. Like, hey, you're starting, this is gonna happen. You're gonna feel like an imposter. You're gonna feel this. You're gonna feel that. And when you start feeling everything that they say, and they say it's okay, I felt like that too, and you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling like an imposter now, but I'm seeing these people that after 25 years, they've achieved all this. Then that means that maybe I will achieve the same, right? So they've been a huge inspiration.
Amazing to follow in those footsteps. What is the best advice you've ever received?
So there's a Spanish song that the first sentence is I will translate it. It's be in love with life even when it hurts. And when I was going to like through my first breakup, I was 16, so I was just like feeling it very deep. It was long ago, but that like one of my friends like played that music for like that song for me, and she said focus on that first sentence, and it stuck with me. And every time that I'm like I don't know struggling, of course I allow the sadness and the emotions to like be here because they're part of the journey, but I still remind myself that life can be really good and I'm still in love with life in general, even when like it is very hurting.
Oh, I love that. What is the name of the song? I need to look this up. I'll see if I can use my baby Spanish to translate it.
It's Volando Voy. I
Okay.
can send it to you later. Yeah.
I'm gonna look this up. Thank you. I love that. Also, what wisdom at 16 to have as a friend. You had good
I
people.
know.
Best book or resource you'd recommend to people? Well, resource, obviously your app, but best book
Yeah.
that you would recommend to people.
There's a book that really helped me think about many different topics about life. And it's a very easy read. It's called Tuesdays with Maury, I believe in English. And it's amazing. Like it changed my perspective in so many things. There's such like a lot of wisdom in not a very long book, and it's very entertaining. I really recommend it to everyone.
I will ditto that. I read that maybe it was last year now, but it's yeah. What a great walking example of mindfulness and non-attachment
Mhm.
and not judgment. Incredible recommendation. And personal mantra or words you live by.
I think what I said at the beginning, take it easy. Everything will pass. And with work, obviously, because time and work put things into place. And life is just ups and downs. So yeah, take it easy and be
Beautiful. What
patient.
perfect full circle moment just for us to wrap up. Last but not least, Silvia, for anyone who wants to learn more about you, the program, what you've got going on next, where can they find you?
So we publish a lot of things on Instagram. So it's My Jar 30 app. They can obviously download the app and they will see a bit of the program. There's a 7 days free trial, so they can also see a little bit how everything works. And if they don't like it, they can just leave it. However, I really encourage people to try because it's a very powerful tool. So yeah, I would say Instagram, and we publish a lot on LinkedIn as well, like a bit of both. But yeah, Instagram mostly.
And I'll tag everything on my website. I just followed the app on Instagram. I'm so excited to follow along, and I cannot thank you enough for sharing all this information. And I know inspiring not only myself, but many of the listeners to pursue sober curiosity and really approach the holidays and the new year in a different way.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks, Sylvia. Oh, that was brilliant. I really appreciate your time and congratulations on all of your hard work. Can I ask how old you are? You just seem so young to have achieved so much.
I'm 26.
Good for you, girl. Geez, you're going to change the world. That is awesome. And
Thank you.
really, thanks for letting me interrupt your trip to do this. I'm so grateful we got to squeeze this in. And
Yeah, no worries.
I will, of course, share this episode. I think will be up in 2 weeks on Sunday, and I'll share it,
Mhm.
tag it, everything. And if there's ever anything I can do to support you, you've got new programs and stuff going up, please let me know. I'm always happy to share. And yeah, I hope a lot of people use your services. It just sounds like an incredible tool.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to ask you, like, I haven't done many podcasts yet, so do you have any insights or recommendations from what you've seen
For
for
you,
me?
you were, no, you were amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so
No,
much.
you're a natural pro. I have no feedback. I mean, because I try to just approach it like very conversationally. So it's always
Mm.
easy. No, you are such a great
Yeah,
guest.
very natural.
Well, thanks. It's always, you do all the work. Like I just get to show up and facilitate. So I really appreciate, because you gave so many tangible tools in a really non-judgmental way, which I think when we talk about alcohol, it can get so scary because people are so resistant, like there's just so much shame there. So I love how you approach this. I'm so excited to share this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, really.
Okay, my dear, I'll let you log off and get some sleep. Thank you again. And I'll let you
Yeah,
know
thank you.
when everything's ready. I'll send it your way.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Sure, talk to you soon.
Yeah, take
Bye.
care.
That's all the time we have together this week. That's all the time we have together this week. Thank you so much for being here with Sylvia and I. You can find more from me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at KY Wellness. More details about all episodes can be found at kywellness.ca under the podcast tab. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss a new episode every Sunday. And most importantly, don't forget to move your body, nourish your body, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. See you next week, and keep yourself well. Tis the season for Tis the season for socializing, and often with seasonal cocktails, but not everyone wants to celebrate the season with alcohol. I'm Kelly Youngstrom, and this is Keep Yourself Well. My guest today is so passionate about the relationship that people have with alcohol. She develops content for an app designed to help users take control back. Silvia Subirana is a clinical psychologist and the head of content development at the app My Dry 30. To help users achieve this, the app integrates tools like hypnotherapy, journaling, gratitude, reading, and other exercise to support lasting change. Sylvia has a really interesting backstory that includes dance and a little bit of burnout, and that has given her an understanding of how the body often reveals what the mind suppresses, reinforcing her commitment to holistic well being as a core focus of her work.